Hey there, everybody. Brian King here. Uh, I wanted to do this live because I type a lot, and I know you miss seeing this pretty face. But I'm in the midst of my first MS flare in about 2 years, which is pretty darn good. When I was first diagnosed, I was having them every 6 months, every couple months. So this is very good. But as is the nature of my particular brand of MS, which is the most common, relapsing, remitting, it means it comes and it goes. And there's no real telling how that's going to happen, when, how long. It's very much like a surprise guest that shows up unannounced and decides to come in, sit at your table, and bitch, 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 bitch. That's kind of the metaphor that I'm utilizing this time around. Is this is an unwelcome guest who's just kind of barged into my house unannounced and is sitting down and making a whole lot of noise and racket. And my job is to bear witness to it, to listen, to sit there, to be present, to let it do its thing, and once it's done venting, move on its way. And by taking it from that position or perspective, it's easier to depersonalize it and see this is an event in my life, this is an experience that I'm having. This is not something that's happening to me. It's not even something that's happening for me. I see it as something that's happening through me. Kind of like that cold wind. Anybody in warmer climates might not be able to appreciate this, but if you're from the Chicago area like I am, you know that biting winter wind that cuts through any layers of clothing you may have on. Doesn't matter what the labels say about, it's thin and maximum strength repellent of wind or whatever jargon they use. Bottom line is, it's like piercing through your skin down to your bones. And the wicked winds of Chicago can feel like that. And MS can feel like that. But like the winds, it didn't say, hey, so and so's leaving the house now, crank it up. Let's pierce through their winter coat just to let them know that this is all about them, that it's personal. Yeah, these are caused by lesions in the brain between these two ears. But I'm in charge of the story I tell myself. I decide whether it's personal or not. And I decide whether it's temporary and is passing through from time to time, or whether this is a lifelong curse that is just doomed to rob me of any joy whatsoever. Those are the two extremes. And I choose to see this as part of the journey. Any obstacle that occurs is something to be climbed, worked around, worked under, gone through, exploded, or accepted. That's can be said of any trial in life, whether it's a divorce, a bankruptcy, a lost job, a broken heart. I don't need to compare and think one is worse than another because each one has its own tasks that need to be dealt with, lessons that need to be learned, problems that need to be overcome. I don't need to say, go to somebody else's life and say, well, that's easier for you. At least you don't have MS. What a bunch of BS. That's feeling sorry for myself. That's comparison that divides me from other people and causes me to forget the fact that we are both walking through the human condition, regardless of how you cover it or flavor it. We're each trying our best to make our way, and we all have something to teach each other if we're humble enough to learn what life is trying to teach us. So I'm just showing up today to share that this is what I'm dealing with right now. You may be dealing with a boss that is relentlessly critical. There's no comparison here. We're dealing with what we're dealing with. And it's a matter of taking it from the perspective that allows you to make use of it for your own growth, for your own refinement. By refinement, I mean get out the impurities, the old beliefs, the baggage, the patterns, the junk that you've picked up your whole life, mostly at the hands of others that you were looking up to. All of this stuff that no longer serves you, but is cluttering up the attic, if you follow me. Refinement is taking stock in where you are and asking yourself, is what I'm believing, are the habits I'm engaging in, are they serving me? If they aren't, I need to get rid of them. Nancy, you just said you have MS and can barely walk. Yeah, I spent all day yesterday in bed. My skin was on fire, pins and needles, head to toe. I didn't want anybody to touch me. I didn't want anybody to talk to me. I couldn't take in any more input. This morning, I still have the pins and needles are in my arms, and I'm a lot more wobbly and twitchy. So I don't know how much typing I'm going to do today, but thank goodness one of my accommodations is a Mac. And Mac has speech to text and text to speech built in. It's pretty user friendly. So when I'm too tremory like today, I can use technology to continue to create and do what I need to do. I could complain and say, oh, isn't it awful that I have to do this? It's so unfair while my friends are doing this and that. And yeah, there are times I do that to myself and it sucks. But then I catch myself and realize that there's plenty of room for gratitude. In particular, thank goodness I have the resources to have this Mac at my disposal so that I can use speech to text and text to speech and can continue to create and do what lights my soul up and help people and continue to be engaged in the world even though my body is kind of short-circuiting for the time being. And one thing that also helps me ride this out, I was having this conversation with my son this morning. He says, I hope this isn't one of the things that kills you. And I said, well, technically, and I think this is just semantics, they say MS doesn't kill you. It's the secondary complications that kill you. So when you're at the point where you are kind of bedridden and you're laying around all the time and you can't get up and move around, which is part of how your body keeps your lungs clean, then the mucus builds up, you get pneumonia, and that's what gets you. So they say, well, it wasn't the MS, it was the pneumonia. To me, that's a bunch of horse crap. You know, there was a time when people were saying HIV doesn't kill you, it's the secondary infections you get because of HIV. You know, my whole point, it's like saying, well, the cancer didn't kill you, it's because your pancreas shut down. You know, the way that people can split hairs sometimes is just laughable and absurd. But one thing that is true for all of us is that life itself is absurd. And when you look up that term, it makes reference to being unfair. You know, the rules are unequal. We're not all starting off in the same way. Why are some people born in abject poverty and some people are born the kids of billionaires? I don't remember that raffle. You know, that wasn't on my bingo card. How do we end up with these advantages? Why do some kids have bone cancer? Why do some people have lung cancer and some people can, smoke for 50 years and perfect health? Why don't we all have the same advantages? Life is unfair. Does that make sense? No, it's all absurd. And because it's absurd for all of us pretty much, how can it be personal? It isn't. And it's important to remember that when the shit seems to hit the fan over and over and over again for some of us. But again, we're not comparing, hey, how come they only got a turd and I got diarrhea? That's not fair. Because one hits the fan with a little bit more spatter, let's say. All right, I'll stop with the metaphors, but you get the picture. It's a matter of realizing that this is not personal. This is just a fact. It's a fact that life is absurd. And it's important to get the skills and the mindset to manage that and navigate that. Now, whether it's MS or fibromyalgia or cancer or depression, learning how to surf it is the key. It isn't a matter of overcoming it, conquering it, defeating it, whatever the jargon is. It's a matter of how do I learn to surf these waves? Because they don't seem to be going anywhere. So I can't sit there flopping and floundering and complaining about the fact that I'm drowning and nobody's throwing me, a life preserver. I better figure out how to swim. Anyway, I think I've hopefully conveyed what it is I was trying